sometimes even I believe, as far as I remember, that the question is raised whether relatively enlightened beings experience the Bardo at all in the ordinary sense. Well, mainly because consciousness or awareness is prolonged, and consciousness is, as it were, self-directed, and in exceptional cases, that the future rebirth is actually quite consciously, quite deliberately chosen.
But how would this actually differ from the normal person's experience of the Bardo?
Well, for instance, in the case of the ordinary person, the whole experience is confused or obscured. Perhaps the Tibetan Book of the Dead, gives us a slightly misleading picture, because it suggests that something very clear happens, very definitely happens stage by stage. But that would seem to be, according to some accounts at least, a rather, in a way, idealized picture. It would seem that the average person almost sort of hurries through the Bardo as though through a dark, tunnel in which they just glimpse, in a very, very momentary, very fragmentarily, all sorts of shapes and forms, and then very quickly, back in this life after a period of comparative unconsciousness. But in the case of, as I've called them, the comparatively enlightened, it's a different kind of experience. To begin with, much more like the experience described in the Tibetan Book of the Dead, and then again, much more conscious, much more controlled, without perhaps the terrifying visions at the end, or the experience of the whirlwind and falling over the precipice and all that kind of thing.
So, what do you mean by comparatively enlightened beings?
Those in whom there was a measure of actual insight.
That would be the insight of the stream entry, as opposed to insight of the small.
Yes, at least that, as distinct from insight with a small eye.
Okay.
When people of different religious beliefs experience the Bardo and all the various attractive and repulsive energies that occur in the Bardo in a different way, for instance, would a Christian see the different, let's say, the white light, and would he experience it in a different way because of his beliefs and convictions?
Well, in the case of the white light, the essence of the matter is that it is unconditioned. That at that level you are not conditioned by your previous cultural formation or even your previous religious formation. So it is not that the pure white light is the way in which Buddhists experience it, and others might have another experience. No, don't take the expression pure white light literally. It is an experience of ultimate reality. So that would, in a manner of speaking, be the same for all. But as you come down to lower and lower levels, to the archetypal plane, then it may well be that your perception on that plane is determined, or to some extent conditioned, by your previous cultural heritage. I think there's more investigation of an empirical nature needed on this particular topic, but that would seem to be reasonable to suppose that. As it would be rather odd if everybody had the same sort of experience that Tibetan Buddhists have, as detailed in the Tibetan Book of the Dead. It's very, very Tibetan, as it were. It's not even Indian. Not Indian in the strict sense. In ancient Egypt, there was a text which is sometimes called in the West the Tibetan book of the Egyptian Book of the Dead, but its imagery is entirely Egyptian. And similarly, there is Christian imagery, used in representations of after death experiences, in Christian art. So yes, I think one can allow for a certain amount of cultural conditioning in the Bardo, with the exception of the experience of what the Tibetan Buddha of the Dead calls the white light.